Hey everyone, Clifton here with Clifton Creative Academy, and in this video we're going to be learning how to build a cafe website from scratch using the free version of Elementor and a few other plugins. Now, whenever you're building a website for a client or you're building it for your business, I usually recommend that you use the premium tools or the paid versions of plugins that you use in the building of that website. However, it is possible to build a very well presented and very functional website using the free version of Elementor and some of the plugins that I'm going to introduce you to. Elementor really is that robust even in its free version. But if you really want to create something that is absolutely amazing and has more features and more functionality, then I highly recommend that you consider getting the professional versions of the plugins. But that being said, this is about building a website using 100% free plugins to build. So you're not going to have to spend any money to build this website. However, you do have to invest in your own hosting and you do have to invest in a domain name if you want to take this live. So what are we going to be building? Well, we're going to be building this beautiful website with a nice featured area, some calls to action. We're going to be showcasing our products, and we're going to be showcasing a bunch of different capabilities that you can pull off using the free version of Elementor. It's going to be a great tutorial, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first thing that you want to do if you're going to build a website is you need two very important things. You're going to need a domain name and you're going to need web hosting. Now, if you don't know what a domain name is, it's basically the name that you type into the address bar to be able to reach a website. Those have to be registered to you or to the site owner, and that is how people are going to be able to find you. Now, there's a couple of ways for you to get a domain name. You can get a domain name directly through the hosting company that you are purchasing hosting from, or you can get domain names independently from domain registrars. If you're going to get it independently from a domain registrar, I highly recommend Namecheap as a domain registrar. You can go to namecheap.com or you can go to cliftoncreativeacademy.com/domains, and you'll be able to purchase your own domain and manage your own domains in your own portal. And it's very simple. You simply go to the website and there you can search for whatever type of domain that you're looking for. So let's say I wanted to build a website for a cake cafe, and I want my website name to be Cake Cafe. Let's see, Cake Cafe Cool Place.com. Okay, so I'm going to run this search, and if it's available, Namecheap will tell me, oh, your domain name is available. And here it is. It is available. And for $8 a year, I get to be able to purchase this domain. And it's really simple. Simply add it to the cart and then follow the prompts. You will simply go to your cart. They'll show you everything that you have. Now, one of the things I like about Namecheap is they provide a whois guard. They basically protect your identity so that you don't get those solicitations from people that want to solicit you because they have your information from purchasing the domain. So they do offer a free whois guard subscription with the purchase of your domain, and typically at Namecheap your domain is discounted for your first year. Okay, once you confirm your order with Namecheap, then they take you through the process of creating an account and then purchasing that domain using PayPal or a credit card, and you are all set. Okay, so consider Namecheap as a great place for you to purchase domains. And if you want, you can use the link in the description below to access this website. That link is an affiliate link, and you do not have to use it to get to the website. You can actually go directly, but we would appreciate it if you use our affiliate link. We get a small commission, which helps us run the channel. So, but it's entirely up to you. You do not have to do it. But if you want to support us, we appreciate that. We appreciate you supporting the channel if you do. Okay, great. So that's the first way, which is getting it independently. The second way is going to SiteGround. Now, SiteGround is a web hosting company that provides hosting for people that like to host different types of websites, including WordPress. And they are probably the most trusted web hosting company in the world right now, simply because they offer stellar support and they have an excellent platform for building any type of website that you want. Their platform runs pretty fast, and they have an enormous amount of tools to let you build and manage websites. So over 2 million people actually use SiteGround for their web hosting. I use them and I've been using them for years. And I have different types of, I've experienced different types of hosts. I have never experienced the level of support that I have received from SiteGround from any other hosting company that like it. So I highly recommend SiteGround for your hosting. And it's really simple. You just simply go to their website. You can access it by going to cliftoncreativeacademy.com/hosting or /SiteGround, and it'll take you here, and you just simply select WordPress hosting. You can select any of these hosting options that you want, but I recommend selecting the WordPress hosting because that's what we're going to be building our website on. So go ahead and click on the Get Started button here, and you'll be offered with these plans. Now, one of the plans that they offer is the Grow Big plan, which is this one in the middle. I recommend this plan over the startup plan, which is a little cheaper because the startup plan only offers you the one website. I have found that I like building multiple websites. So at the next level up, for just $2 more a month, you can get unlimited websites, more web space, and more allowances for website visits. And then if you really find yourself doing some great things and building even more websites and needing more space and more monthly visits, then go for the Go Geek option here, which gives you more features and you get more visits and more space. Okay, I happen to own both versions of these. I own the Grow Big and I also own the Go Geek. Once you decide on the plan that you want to use for your hosting platform, simply click on Get Plan, and they will begin to take you through the process of setting up your hosting account. And you can see here, if you do not have a domain name, you can go ahead and register a domain. So let's say we wanted to register our other domain, which was the Cake Cafe Cool Place. We'll keep it at a .com. The domain registration is $15.95 for the year. We're going to go ahead and hit proceed. Then they take us to the final step where you will enter your email account information, your password, your country, and then your payment information. And then right here where it says purchase information and hosting services, you can choose the period of time that you would like to have the hosting. Now it defaults automatically to 12 months, even though you could do a trial month. I recommend at a minimum doing 12 months, at best doing 36 months. And then giving the platform a try. You would find that the service here at SiteGround is absolutely amazing. The additional options that you can get also are domain privacy. Okay, so if we select that, and you can also get the SG Site Scanner to make sure that you don't have any malware on your hosting, or no one's injected any kind of malicious code on your hosting. Then once you agree and you confirm that you have read and you agree to their site, to the terms, you can opt to receive their newsletter as well. You simply would pay. So the entire domain with the hosting would require an investment of $119.15. This is for 1 year. So for the year, and you are pretty much all set for 1 year as you're learning to build websites or building multiple websites, whichever one you prefer, and then you're all good to go. And that is how you will go ahead and set up your hosting with SiteGround. Now, I already have hosting with SiteGround, so what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and log into our platform, and I will show you how to begin the initial phases of setting up your website by installing WordPress, installing the necessary plugins, and we can start building out our website for the Coffee, Cakes, and Muffins Cafe site. So now I'm going to go ahead and log into my SiteGround account. Okay, and once you log in, you can simply go to my accounts, and you can go to your C panel. Okay, now in your C panel is where you'll have access to all of the different tools that you need to be able to start installing WordPress, managing databases, and so on. It's also where you can add on a domain if you purchase your domain separately. If you have the domain through SiteGround, then the domain will be listed here. Just like you can see here, this domain, workwithclifton.com. This is the domain that I purchased when I was buying this account. Now, for the purposes of this tutorial, we're going to be building the website on a subdomain. And a subdomain is just simply a section of your domain where you can host another website, but it's in a subdomain. Okay. So I've already created a subdomain. All we need to do now is to go ahead and install WordPress. And if we want to install WordPress, it's very easy to do. All we have to do here is we simply go to WordPress under the auto installers. You click on the icon. It will take you to the installer. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and install it in our subdomain. So we're now here at the install section. We have the current version of WordPress, and we're going to go ahead and select our install site, which is site.cliftontutorials.com. We're going to leave this in directory part blank, and right here we're going to name our website. So it's going to call this Coffee, Cakes, and Muffins, and we're going to say the best coffee and cakes in town. Okay, we're going to leave the enable multi-site unchecked. We're going to go to the admin account and just select a username that you can remember. All right, and then you're going to select a password that you can remember. All right, and we're going to select our email address. Enter your email address. We'll leave the language as English. We will leave the additional plugins unchecked because we want a clean install. I'm going to go ahead and uncheck this WordPress starter. This is just something that SiteGround has where they install additional themes and plugins that they think you might need, but you don't need them. And then under the advanced options, you can make changes to your database if you want. We're going to leave that alone. There's no need. Just go ahead and click install, and SiteGround will take care of the rest and begin installing WordPress under the domain that you have selected. Okay, our install is now complete. And if we go ahead and we visit our, we can go ahead and log into our WordPress install by clicking on the link that they provided. And here we are in. Okay, so we are now ready to start building out our site. But first, we have to configure the install because this is a fresh install, but we have to configure it to our liking. So let's go ahead and take care of a few housekeeping items. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do is I want to go to plugins. I just want to make sure that there are no additional plugins that I did not install in there. And in here, I can see that there's an SG Optimizer, which is a caching plugin that SiteGround installs to help your website run faster. We're not going to be using this right now because we have other ways of making our website, optimizing our website for speed. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and deactivate this, and then I'm going to delete it. So I know that I have a fresh install. Okay, so now that's taken care of. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to settings, and under settings, I'm going to go to permalinks. And under permalinks, I'm going to select how I want my website URLs to be displayed. So a website URL is this section of your website right here. And if you see this right here, you can see this is the URL. And currently the way that it is set up is that it is set up to have the date and the name of the page. Well, I don't want it to have that. I just want it to have the name of whatever page that the user has landed on, so it makes it a lot easier. This is also easier for search engines to go ahead and index. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this option here, the post name option. And then I can now save my changes and know that my URLs are set up the way that I want them to be set up. The next place that I'm going to go is I'm going to go under the General tab here. And under the General tab, I'm just going to make sure that the site title and tag name are the ones that I selected. I'm also going to check to make sure that the time zone is my correct time zone. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to the Los Angeles Pacific time zone, which is where I am. And that all looks good now. So I'm going to go ahead and save those changes. Okay, and now that we have completed those housekeeping items, I can now visit the front end of the website by clicking on the name of the website in the top left here. And we can see here we have a vanilla default install of WordPress. And I know it doesn't look like much now, but by the time we are done with this is going to be a beautiful coffee, cakes, and muffins website. And that concludes our installation of WordPress. Our next step now is to begin installing our theme, our plugins, and start designing our site. Okay, so let's begin. We're going to start with installing our theme. Now, the current theme that you see here is the default WordPress 2019 theme. We're not going to be using that theme. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the dashboard. Okay, we're going to go to Appearance, Themes, and here we're going to click on Add New. Okay, so now you can see there are quite a number of themes that you can choose from, but we want actually a specific theme. And this is a theme that I recommend both if you're building a website just for yourself or if you're even going to build for clients. This is a free theme called Astra, and it's one of the most versatile free themes that are available. There's also a pro version of it that adds more functionality, but for the purposes of this tutorial, we're going to be using the free version of Astra because it has everything that we need to build out our site. So so you do a search for Astra. Here's the theme here. It's from Brainstorm Force. We're going to go ahead and install this theme. Okay, and then we're going to activate the theme. Okay, so now our theme is activated. And so now when you visit the website, you will notice that now the website has changed. It no longer has that default 2019 theme that we saw before. It now has the Astra default layout, which is still a blog type layout. The site we're going to be building is going to look more like a website, but it's already starting to look better already. Okay, our next step then now is to install our plugins. So let's go ahead and go back to the dashboard. We're going to go to plugins and we're going to click on add new. The first plugin that I'm going to install is the page builder plugin Elementor. So just run a search for Elementor. Okay, here's the Elementor page builder. Click install now and activate. Okay, you're gonna get this introduction to Elementor here. You can go ahead and watch this if you have the time, but for now we're going to go ahead and skip this. Okay, and now we know we now have the latest version of Elementor installed. Okay, then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to install a few additional helper plugins. So we're going to go back to back to plugins, click on add new, and the first one we're going to install is called Astra Hooks. Now, Astra Hooks is a plugin that allows us to hook into different areas of your website, different sections that you may have created with Elementor. Okay, so we're going to install that now, and this will make more sense as we go through the tutorial. Okay, so we've got our Astra Hooks, we've got our Elementor. We're going to install also an additional plugin called Anywhere Elementor. Okay, now Anywhere Elementor is a great plugin, and what it allows you to do is it allows you to create layouts that you can then hook into different parts of your website using Astra Hooks. You can also add the layouts you created Anywhere Elementor into different pages and posts of your website as well. Okay, so now we have Anywhere Elementor, we have Astra Hooks, and we have Elementor Page Builder as well. Okay, now there is one additional plugin that I want to install, and this is a form plugin by Ninja Forms. We're going to use this to create our contact form for our website. So click on add new. You're going to search for Ninja Forms. Okay, click on install now and activate. Now, Ninja Forms also has a pro version, but the free version is also excellent as well for creating a simple contact form. Okay, so it looks like we have all our plugins installed. There is one additional plugin we're going to add. This plugin doesn't really do anything, but it's going to help me explain the concept of hooks. So we're going to look for Astra Hooks. Okay, and we're looking for we're looking for the Astra theme visual hooks. Okay, now what this does is it shows you the different areas of your website where you could hook in additional sections or things for your website, and I'll demonstrate this for you here shortly. Okay, and that's all we need, just these 5 free plugins we're going to use to basically build out our website. Okay, so now the one thing we do want to make sure of, what we do want to do is we want to create a home page. When you go to this default page here, this is the default blog layout. We do want to install a home page that will allow us to start building out our page with Elementor. So to do that, just go back to dashboard, go to pages, click on add new. Okay, we're going to call this home page. Okay. And we're going to set up a few things here on the right. So on the right, I'm going to select the Elementor full width attribute. Okay. What this is going to do is it's going to take away the sidebar and the title of the page. So just to demonstrate what I mean, I'm going to leave it at default for now, and I'm going to go ahead and publish this. Okay. So if we visit the page now, you'll notice that we still have that layout, except it just says home page. Okay. But if we edit the page, and we make the changes to those page attributes by selecting Elementor full width, okay, when we click update and we view the page, now you'll notice that that layout is now gone, and we now have a full layout from end to end that we can now use to build out our page using Elementor. Okay, so now the next thing for us to do is for us to designate this page as the home page for our website, because if I click on this, it takes us to the default layout where it's showing a blog post. So to do that, go to the dashboard, go to settings, click on reading, and right here where it says your home page displays, instead of your latest post, we're going to select a static page, and for the home page, we're going to select the home page we just created, save changes. And now when we visit the site, you will see that it now defaults to the home page that we created. And now we're ready to start building out our home page layout. Okay, so let's begin. To go over what we're going to build, let's take a look at our source site. So this is what we are going to recreate. Okay, so we're going to recreate our Cakes, Coffee, and Muffins site. So this is just another subdomain where I built this. So I'm literally going to recreate every single thing. And the way I like to build websites is I like to literally start from the top and build everything from the top all the way down to the bottom. So your website's typically divided into a header, there's a featured area, there's a services or products area, and then there may be some other information that's posted here. So we're going to literally build each section one section at a time. So the first section is going to be the header. And if we take a look at the elements in this header, we have a phone number at the very top. We have an address to the top right. Then there's the logo for the company. And then there is a menu to the right. And then we have this beautiful divider here that kind of looks like a wavy piece of whipped cream or something that you would see on a muffin somewhere. So we're going to recreate this entire thing, and then we'll move on to the next section where we're building out this featured area. So let's go ahead and get started with the header. Okay, so here is our site. It doesn't really have anything on it right now. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to create that top section. So this section right here, we want to create this first. So to do that, we're going to be using a couple of few helper tools. The first thing to keep in mind is, since we're using a free version of Elementor, some of the capabilities that are contained in the theme builder are not present in the free version. That is why we had to get some helper plugins to help us. So Elementor, the free version by default, doesn't ship with the capability of you adding things to the top of your header like this. Okay, but the pro version does. So we're not going to use the pro version. We're going to be using the free version. So how will we accomplish that? Well, I'm going to show you. So first, let's go to the admin dashboard. We're going to go to Anywhere Elementor, which is this right here. And in here, we're going to create what we need to hook into that area. Okay, so we're going to come here and we're going to click on Add New. Excuse me. Okay, and we're going to call this. I like to call this a utility area. Okay, some people call it a top area. I call it a utility area because you can utilize different things there. So we'll call it a utility area. Okay, and then I'm going to publish this. Now, one of the things you'll notice if you look to the right, Anywhere Elementor has already provided us with a short code to be able to insert anywhere in our website, and it will display whatever we create here. There's also a PHP version of that, but we're not going to be using that. Okay, but really all we need to do at this point is name the section we're going to create, publish it, and now we can start editing with Elementor. So I'm going to click on Edit with Elementor. And now we are in the edit section for this component. Now, this is not a page. This is just a component that we're building. So if you can imagine us just literally wanting to build this top strip up here. That's all we want to do. Okay. This anywhere Elementor is technically a component builder. Okay. So let's go ahead and begin. The first thing that we want to do is if we take a look at this, you'll notice that there are about 2 columns here, or there may be some columns in between. We're just going to create something that would allow us to have on each opposite end, we're going to have that information. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on the plus sign here, and I'm going to select my structure, and I'm going to select a full structure. So no columns, just a full structure here. Okay, great. And then I'm going to click on the section selector, which is this at the very top here. Right here, there's like the 6 dots. I'm going to click on that. And that will allow me to customize this section here. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to say, what do I want to do with the content width of this section? Well, I want this content width to be full width. Okay, I want it to go all the way to the end. I'm going to leave the columns gaps the same. I'm going to leave the height the same, and everything else is here is going to be the same. Okay. As far as the style goes, I'm going to come here and go to a background. I'm going to select the classic background, and I want this background to be white. Okay. And that's all I need to do for this section here. Okay. Now I can create the insides of the section, and to do that, I can either click on the plus sign here, or I can click on this box, which is the elements selector. So if I click on this, it will open up all the Elementor elements that I have access to. One of those elements is the intersection. So I'm going to drag an intersection into the space here, and you'll see it immediately gives me 2 columns. Okay, so 2 columns. So within these 2 columns, I can now start building out my my information, start adding my information. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and click on the plus sign, which will open up the elements here. And what we are looking for, if we come here, what we're looking for is something with an icon and some text. So if I come back to my site here and I type in, icon, I'll see some options. I've got an icon just by itself. I've got an icon box, which is an icon with some text, an icon list, and social icons. So this matches what I'm looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and drag that in. Okay. And then I can now start configuring this section. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and click on the icon library here, and what we're looking for is a phone. So just do a search for phone. This matches the phone that we saw in there. I'm going to click that in here. Okay, under the view, it says stacked or framed. I'm going to leave it exactly how it is. And then we have a heading here. Okay, so the heading is where I'm going to insert the phone number. Okay, so I'm just going to grab this here, which is the phone number call to action, and I'm going to paste it in. All right, I'm going to delete the description because we don't need that, and there won't be a link. And what I want to do is I want the icon to be positioned to the left. So this will allow me to position the icon to the left, and I'm going to leave the HTML tag the same. So I'm just going to leave this as an H3. And then I'm going to move to the next tab, which is the style tab. So I'm done with the content tab. I'm now going to move to the style tab. So in the style tab, starting at the top with the icon itself, we're going to select the primary color. Okay. And the primary color here for this icon is something in the neighborhood of the pinkish variety, like that. So let's see if we can match this exactly. Let's see here, and I'm going to grab this one. There we go. That looks like it right there. A little more red, right there. Okay, there we have it. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this color and make it that the color there. Oops, excuse me. So that's our color. The spacing is fine, but the size is very big, so I'm going to go ahead and make that a little smaller. Okay, so let's go with, I'm going to go with 16 pixels. Hey, what's really cool is you can actually rotate this if you want it, which is something really nice with Elementor. As a matter of fact, I've only seen the Elementor page builder have this capability, which is great. Okay, so we're done with our icon. Okay, next is we want to do the same thing with our text. So that we're going to open up the content section under the style here, and we're going to vertically align this to the top, which is fine as it is now. No, excuse me. Actually, we want this to be vertically aligned to the center, to the middle. Yeah. Okay, and then our color for our text is the same color as the icon. Okay. We're going to leave the typography the same for now. And we're not doing anything with the description, but we do want to do something with the size. So I'm going to click on the typography icon here. And with this size, I'm going to match it to the icon, which is 16. Okay. All right. So match it to the icon, which is 16. Okay. So now we've got the colors right. We've got the icon in the right place. But if you notice, this is misaligned, and it's misaligned because I have the vertical alignment as middle. So it's taken into account the description, even though the description is not there. So to fix that, I'm going to align it to the top, just like that. Okay. And we can even do more alignments by creating some, spacing and things like that. We can actually play with this a little bit, but I'm going to leave the spacing here at 0. Okay. Close that. And if we go to the icon, there's even some spacing opportunity here too. So you can actually move this further out or a little closer. Okay. All right. So it looks like we've created our call to action similar to the call to action that's here. Okay. So now remember this color. Since we're going to be using this color pretty regularly, I'm going to go ahead and copy this, and we're going to take advantage of Elementor's global styling. So what I want you to do is click on the hamburger icon here. We're going to go to our default colors, and you can see the palette, the default palette that's already here. We're going to change that. So if you notice, when I pulled this in initially, it was blue. So we're going to change our primary color to the color that we're using now. That way we don't have to keep resetting it. Okay, this is in the color palette. I'm going to make the accent color a closer color, but a little lighter. Just a little lighter. There we go. A little lighter. Kind of like that. Okay. All right. I'm going to make our text darker. So 28, 20, 28 is good. And I'll leave the secondary text as is. I'm going to apply this. And now you'll see that this will apply throughout the entire website. Okay. Let's go ahead and click on update to save our work for now. And now we're going to build out the other part here, which is the address. Okay, so 123 Cafe Street, Roseville, California. We're going to come back to our icon here. And since we've already done all the work here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this. To duplicate it, hover over it, find the edit icon all the way to the right, and right click on it. And a new menu will open up. And in this menu, you can duplicate this. You can duplicate this element. Once you've duplicated it, go ahead and drag it to the next section here. Okay, and now we can start making our changes in this column. So you're going to come here. We're going to change this. Since it's an address, we're looking for a marker. Okay, map marker right there. I'm going to insert that. And we're going to change this address. We're going to change this number, I'm sorry, to the address. Okay, it's great. This looks really good. So now we have both of our top elements in place. All right. Now, the next thing that we want to do is we want it to be aligned similar to how this is. So this is all the way to the end here. This is all the way to the end on this side. Okay, so we're going to come here, and the way we're going to do that is when we select this element here. I'm sorry, not select the element. What we're going to do is we're going to insert an additional column here. So I'm going to go ahead and right click on the column icon. And what we're going to do is we're going to click on add new column. Okay, and that pushes it over just a little bit. And then one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my my cursor, and I'm going to drag this all the way to the edge here, right there. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side, right there. Okay, so this is just creating a nice little spacer for us so that we have these on each side of the header. And that concludes us building out this section. Now, one thing that I do want to make sure of is as I go back to the top overarching section here, I want to make sure that there are no additional spacing or paddings that will prevent this from looking nice and slim like this does. Okay, so I'm gonna come here, I'm gonna go to advanced, and automatically I can see that the margins are set to 0 out of 0. There's no padding in here, which is great. I'm gonna click on layout, and I can see that there is a columns gap is set to default. I'm gonna change this to no gap, so I don't want any gap, and you can see that kind of comes a little bit closer now, which is much better. Okay, and I'm satisfied with this, so I'm gonna go ahead and update. Okay, I'm gonna click on the hamburger icon, and I'm going to exit to the dashboard. And now that I've exited to the dashboard, I'm gonna grab the shortcode. Okay, using Command Copy on your Mac or Control C. I'm sorry, Command C on your Mac or Control C on your PC. Okay, I'm gonna grab that. And then I'm going to go to the front end of the website by clicking on the website name. And you can see it takes me right here to the front end of the website. And now what I want to do is I want to hook this in to the top of my header, right? So that's where the Astra hooks comes into play. And remember that Astra hooks theme visual plugin we installed? Well, this is what will allow you to see everywhere that you can install, you can add a hook. So this is our header, and this is the right side of our header, okay? And then this is our content. And everywhere you see a name is somewhere that you can hook something into for this theme. That's what all this is. So this is the footer, so you can hook things before the footer and after the footer. You can hook things before the header and after the header. That's what this is. So I'm gonna go ahead and hide this now, and what we're going to do to hook in something above this is we're going to go to the customize section of our theme for Astra. Okay, and one of the options that we have here now is hooks. I'm going to click on hooks. I'm going to select the header, and the one I'm looking for, the hook area I'm looking for, is the before header. So before the header, what I'm saying is please hook in what we just created using this shortcode. And as you can see, as soon as I pasted it in, it is now hooked in. Okay, I'm going to click on publish, close this out, and you can see we've now completed building out the first section of the header. Okay, similar to this one. We've now completed it. Okay, next we're going to do the logo and the right side menu. To go ahead and add a logo, we're going to go to customize, and the Astra theme actually has a way for us to add a logo to our header. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the header section here. I'm going to click on site identity, and you see here where it says to select a logo. We're going to go ahead and select our logo. So when we click here, we can go to select file. Okay. So now our logo is uploaded, excuse me. And we're now going to go ahead and select that. Okay, I'm going to say I don't want the crop. I just want the full thing in there. So skip the cropping. And there's our logo. Okay, now it looks a little crazy right now, but that's okay. We will fix that. So right here where it says logo width, I'm going to go ahead and reduce the width of this logo. Okay, using the slider. And let's keep it at 185. For now, okay, 185. Then as you scroll down, it's going to ask us if you want a site icon on here. I'm going to say yes, I do. And what I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to select the logo as a site icon. Now, typically you want a site icon that's 512 by 512 pixels, but we can actually create one from our logo. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a portion of this coffee portion here. Okay, I'm going to use our cropping tool. Okay, and I'm going to crop the image. And that will be our site icon that you see in the tab of the, that you're going to see in the tab of the site. Okay. Then as we scroll down, you can notice here that we still have the wording coffee, cakes, and muffins there, the site title. I don't want to display that, so I'm going to uncheck display site title. Okay, and the tagline doesn't show, so this actually looks great. This is exactly what we want. So I'm going to go ahead and click publish. And I'm going to exit out. Okay, and so now we can see that we have our logo in place. We have our calls to action above that, and there's a little misalignment here, so I definitely want these to be aligned. So now I'm going to go ahead and edit this section again that we have so that it's a little bit more spread out. All right. So you can actually do it directly from here. Just go to edit with Elementor, select the utility area, and it will take you to the Anywhere Elementor editor. And from here, we can go ahead and determine what we want this inner section, how wide we want it to be. So to do that, go ahead and hover over it and then select the selector for that intersection. Okay, so as you see, selectors right here, edit inner selection. I'm going to click on that. And right here it says boxed, which is fine. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this slider to stretch it just about there. Okay, so that it matches up with my logo. So that puts us at 1225 width, which is fine. I'm going to update. And hamburger icon to exit out to the page. And I'm going to go ahead and actually exit to the dashboard. And then when I visit the website now, everything should be lined up pretty well. Okay. So the next thing that we want to build now is our menu, right? So if we look at our source site here, we have this nice menu with a contact us button all the way to the right. So we're going to build the same exact thing. Okay. Now to do that, we need to do a couple things. One, we need to create a menu first of all, and we need to create the pages for those menus. So we're going to create the pages first. So I'm going to go to the dashboard, go to pages, add new, and I will start creating my pages. The first one is going to be the about page. And right now I'm just creating them and publishing them. Okay. One thing you can do if you want to save time is you can actually start assigning your Elementor template to these, because later on we're going to be building the pages out using Elementor. So I can go ahead and select Elementor full width and hit publish. Okay, now that one's built. Then I'm going to go back to new page. Our next page will be coffee. Okay, change the template to full width, publish. Okay, the next one, cakes. And the last and final one, contact us. Okay, excellent. So now when we visit the website, you'll notice that on the right, we now have our menu. Okay, and with our menu here, you can notice that things are there, but they're kind of created out of order. It's kind of a strange order here. So that's because we haven't assigned the menu yet. We haven't created the menu yet. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. So go to the dashboard, go to appearance, and we're going to select menus. We're going to create a new menu. We'll call this our main navigation. Click on create menu. Then I'm going to click view all so I can see all the pages. I definitely want my home page, the about, cakes, coffee, contact us, and the muffins page, right? Go ahead and add that. And from here, I can change the label for the home. So it just says home instead of home page. And then I can reorganize these. So I want coffee to be first. Okay, and I want muffins to be third. Okay. Then the next thing we have to do is assign this to the primary menu section for Astra. So I'm going to go ahead and click check that, and then save menu. And now when we visit the site, you'll now notice that the menu now looks correct. It's got the home, about us, cakes, coffee, muffins, and contact us. Okay, so this looks pretty good now. So the next thing we want to make sure of is we want to make sure that our colors are matching, right? So our colors, we want to make sure that our colors are matching in terms of the highlighted color. Right now it's still blue. Okay, so to fix that, we're gonna go to the customize, and we are going to select the global colors, base colors, And you can see here we have the theme colors and the link color. And that's where this blue link is coming from. So we're going to change these colors to our our color that we like, which is the sort of pinkish color, deep pink. Okay. And I'm going to change the link color to be the same. All right, and everything else looks great. Click publish. And now we are uniform. We're back on track. Okay, so we're getting pretty close. We look pretty close to the source site that we're building from. Okay. Now, one of the things you'll notice here is right here we have a button around the contact us, and on ours we just have it say contact us. So we're going to go ahead and create that button now. But the first thing we want to do is we want to actually remove this contact us link. To do that, just go to the dashboard, go to appearance, menus. I'm going to delete this contact us link. So remove that, save it. And then I'm going to go back to the front end of the website. I'm going to click on customize. Right? And under customize, I'm going to select header. We're going to select primary header. Primary menu. Okay. And here where it says last item in menu, we're going to select that we want a button. Okay. So there's our button. Okay. And we also want, let's see here, the button text to say contact us. We don't want to hide the last item in the menu on mobile. Okay, great. Button text says contact us. This is excellent. And then the link that we actually want our link. So site tutorials. Okay, and then if we keep moving down here, we see there's an opportunity to customize the button style. So let's take a look at what that means. So right here, we get to be able to choose a color for the button, and in this case, the color is white already, and the background color it should be a similar color to the theme that we've been using already. Okay, so there's our background color. Great, and then in the hover section, we want it to look good. Here we go. Background color. All right, we might lighten this up just a little bit. All right, excellent. And now we are done with that. Then the other thing we want to make sure of is the border. So this is a square button. This is a more rounded button. So we're going to go ahead and edit the border. Okay, and all I want to do here is edit the border radius. I'm going to go ahead and pop in a 90 pixel border radius there. And there it is. Okay, the other thing is the vertical padding. So this section from this section, I'm going to be close to it. I may not be exact, but I want to be as close as I humanly can. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and reduce this a little bit. All right, let's go ahead and publish. All right, and now we have a menu that looks more like the source site that we're coming from. Okay, so this looks pretty good. All right, so now we can move on to the next section. You kind of see how this goes. So the next section is building out this featured area with the nice, beautiful dividers, contact us button. And then the next one after that will be building out our products and services section of the home page. So now let's begin building the different sections of our home page. So if we look at our source website here, you'll notice that we have this beautiful featured area with a call to action. We've got these three product columns here with an image, a title, and a blurb, and then a button. And then we have this section here, which has a little mini menu, and then a little blurb and a title. And then we've also got this 2-column section area here with 2 testimonials. And then there's a map in the footer and the location and name of the business in the column prior to that. Okay, so we're going to build out each section, one section at a time. So if we go to our main site here that we're building out, we need to build this section right here. Okay, so let's begin. So the first thing we're going to do once we're here is we're going to click on Edit with Elementor. Actually, let's do Edit Page. And we're going to tell it that we want this page to be edited with Elementor by selecting Edit with Elementor. Okay. All right, so Elementor has now loaded. So the first thing we want to do is we want to add a section. I like to add a what I call a container section. Okay, so this area will contain the text and images and so on of what I want in this page. All right, so now that I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and configure this area. So I'm clicking on the selector or the handle for this area up here. It's these 6 dots that you'll see right here in the middle. And the content width right now is boxed, which is fine. Columns gap is fine. The height, I'm going to want to adjust this. So I'm going to do a minimum height. And we're going to extend this. Let's extend it to about, let's say, I'm going to say 685. Get it nice and wide, almost full screen. Okay, actually, let's make it 650. And we can always change this if we want. Everything else here looks fine. Okay, so now we're going to add our background. So I'm going to go to Style, and under the background, I'm going to select the classic background, which means we're either going to use a color or an image. In this case, we are using an image. I'm going to click on the image icon here, and we're going to upload our image. Okay, so the image we are looking for is an image of a row of muffins. There it is. Okay, so we're going to open that. All right, our image is loaded. I'm going to go ahead and fill in some alt text here and insert. All right, our image is in. Okay, so far so good. Now we're going to make a few adjustments to the image so that it looks just right. The first thing is we're going to look at the positioning here, and I want it to be center, meaning it's going to be in the center of the screen so it shows more of the cupcakes. All right, and then as an attachment, we're going to keep this as fixed. Now let's check our source site. What do we have it here? Oh, we have it as fixed, correct. So we're going to keep this as fixed. That way when we scroll, the image stays in place and all the content moves on top of it, giving it a parallax effect. For repeat, we want no repeat. And for size, I want it to be to cover, meaning it's going to cover end to end and be contained within our container here. Okay, so now that looks pretty good. All right, I'm going to close out this background area, and then I want to move to the next one, which is the overlay. So an overlay means you're going to put some kind of color over it, and it's going to overlay your image. You would want to do this so that your text can stand out when you put it over the image. Okay, so we're going to do an overlay. The background type we're going to use is a color overlay. And typically what I like to do when it comes to overlays is I try to match whatever's inside of the image itself. So in this case, if we actually, let me just clear this out. If we look at this image, you'll notice we have brown hues and some whites in here, some reds, some oranges. So all those would make great overlays, right? Typically, some people would just do a dark overlay, but that just makes your image just look dark, right? And you can reduce this as much as you want. But if you really want to add some style, find a color that is close. So here's a close color, almost like a brownish tint here. Right there, looks pretty good. All right, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the opacity by bringing this down just a tad there. And that gives us just the right effect, just the right amount of overlay so that our text can stand out. Okay, so now that we're done with that, here we're going to leave border alone, and we're going to move over to shape divider. Now, shape divider, Elementor actually ships with a lot of really cool shape dividers, and that's what you're seeing here with this little wavy element here. These are shape dividers that produce this effect. So we're going to do the same thing on ours. So I'm going to click on shape divider, and I want to go to the top one, and the one we're using is called mountains. Okay, so you can see right there, already this looks fantastic. Matter of fact, I'm just going to leave this exactly as it is. Don't need to make any changes to it, but you can change the width and the height. You can flip it around and bring it to the front. There's all kinds of great things you can do, but we'll leave it just like that because that looks great. I'm going to move to the bottom of it, which is this area down here, and I'm going to add mountains again. Okay, so now we can see if we go to our source site, we now have the shape dividers similar to what we have on our source site. Okay, awesome. So now the next thing we need to do is we need to add our text to this area. So to do that, you can either click the plus sign here, or you can click on the Elementor elements icon right here at the corner. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to drag in a heading. Okay, and we're going to change the text of this heading to the text that we see here, which says, "We serve the best cafe, coffee, and muffins in town." We want that same information in ours. Come visit our cafe today. Awesome. Okay, then we're gonna now make some changes to it. So the first thing I want to do is I want to center this, and then I'm going to move to the style tab where I'm going to change the text color. Okay, that's the text color. Oops. Okay, so I've changed the text color, and then I also want to change the size. So in order for us to match exactly what we're seeing here, what we need to do is we want to have the same kind of font. Now, I believe this font is the cookie font. So if I go to style here and I click on typography, under the font family, I'm going to type in cookie. And if I select this, no, that isn't quite the cookie font. So we're going to have to discover what font this is. And to do that, we're going to use our inspector element on this source site. So I'm going to go ahead and right click. If you're in Chrome, select inspect. Okay, we're going to select the inspect tool here, and we're going to take a look. So you can see here, by hovering over it, it gives me some information, and it's telling me that the font is Croissant 1 sans serif. Okay, simple information. I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to do a search for Croissant 1. There it is. Now our font is matching. Okay, then I'm going to increase the font size so it's nice and prominent. There we go. I'm going to leave the weight the same. I'm not going to transform it. Transforming means you want to make it either capitalized or book titles. I just want it to be exactly the way that it is right now. Style is fine. The decoration is fine. But the line height, I'd like to create some spacing between the top part of the sentence and the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and increase this by 1.5. Okay, and that looks great. Right now, one thing that I do want to do is I do want to create more spacing between the text and the top and bottom shape divider that we have here, and I also may want to darken this a little bit so that we can see the text even better. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and select my container handle again. I'm going to go to the background overlay for that handle, and I'm going to increase the opacity just slightly. Okay, right there, and I might even increase the coloring back there, and it's starting to look really good. The text is really starting to stand out even much better, but not obscuring the image behind it too badly. So this actually looks really good. I may want to make this a little darker. So there we go, a little darker right there. That is just the right balance of darkness. Looks great. Okay, now what else do we need to have? We need to have a button. So here's our contact us button. So we're going to go ahead and add one. Go ahead and select the Elementor icon for the elements, which is right here at the top corner, and we're going to search for button. Okay, there's a button. I'm going to go drag one in. Okay, and now we're going to configure this. The first thing that I want to do is I want to make this centered. The text will say contact us. Okay, the button will link to our contact page. Just simply type that in and it will pull up the page for you, which is absolutely awesome. We're going to leave the size as small. Okay, we're going to leave the size as small. Well, we don't want an icon and we don't want a button ID as of now. And then we're going to move over to styling. And on the styling, I think I want the typography. I do want the size of it to be a little bit bigger in terms of the text. So that looks That looks just great. That way people can see it. I do want the weight to be a normal weight. There you go. And then the other thing that I want to do is I want to have the rounded corners as well. So if you look down here past the border, you'll see that we have this border radius. I'm going to go ahead and type in 90 there, and that's going to give me the rounded corner that I'm looking for. Okay. And then the next thing is I'm noticing I want to match this coloring here. I want the colors to match. So it looks like these are a little bit off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and inspect that element right here. So this element right here, I'm going to inspect it. Okay, select my inspector, take a look, and it looks like the color is E5023E. So E5023E. Great. So we're going to come here, and the background color for our button is E5023E. There it is, a perfect match. Okay, I'm going to grab this color, and we're going to go ahead and apply it. Click on update. And then just so our colors can continue to match, I will go to the global section here, go to default colors, and I'm going to switch out my primary color to match that so that it's the same, because I know it's a little bit off. There we go. All right, now that looks great. That looks the same. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to our button because I'm noticing the button text seems a little bit too big. So I'm gonna go to typography again. And this is what's great. You can always make these adjustments, and they're really easy to do. You know, you just simply get in there and you can change it to anything that you want until you're happy. Okay, and that looks really good. All right, so now we are literally almost done with this entire section. The only thing that we need to do now is we need to create that spacing that I talked about. So I'm going to go up here and select this top container. I'm going to go to our layout, and here under where it says minimum height, I'm going to increase that to right about there. So 785. Update. And now if we preview this, our site is really starting to come together. I mean, we are literally almost there. If we look at the source site that we built before, looking at this one, it looks really good. A couple housekeeping things. I want to create some more space between the contact us and the aspirational text here. So I'm going to go ahead and select this element, go to advanced, and I'm going to give it a top margin here of 40 pixels. I'm going to deactivate the links being together, and we're going to make all the rest of it 0, 0. Okay, and update. Fantastic. So now we're done. Next up, we're going to build the next section here, which is our product and services section, and we're going to create these elements and this area next. Okay, so let's build out our product section. Okay, so the products for our cafe website are delicious coffee, mouthwatering pancakes, and famous muffins. It has 3 columns with images that are styled very nicely here. We have some titles, a blurb, and a button. So let's go ahead and build that out. So when we go to our site here, okay, what we're going to do is we're now going to add that next section. And just like I like to do, I like to create a container first and then pull in the inner areas to be able to create my columns. So I've already added a container. Now I need to go to our element here, and I'm going to pull in an intersection. Okay, and when you pull in an intersection, you automatically get 2 columns. We're going to go ahead and click duplicate get a duplicate by right-clicking on the column icon, and we're going to click on duplicate. And now we have 3 columns for us to build out our sections in for our products. So next now is we're going to start building out the products one by one. So we're going to start with the delicious coffee. So for that one, we need our delicious coffee image, our text, our blurb, and a button. So let's do it. So either by clicking the plus sign here, or you can also click on advanced. I'm sorry, not advanced. Click on the plus sign, or you can click on the elements icon, which is up here. Okay, I'm gonna click on that, and what I'm looking for now is an image. So this is the image right here. We're gonna drag the image in, and we're now gonna go find our coffee image. So I'm gonna select this, and we've got coffee here. Let's find the coffee. Not that one. There it is. So we're gonna open this. Okay. Plug that in. Insert. Okay, this looks good. Next, we're going to style this image. Okay, so right now the image is set up to be a very large image, which is fine, but we can also set this up as a custom image if we want to, or we can use the preloaded featured image sizes, which one here is 300 by 300, and so on. What I'm going to use is I'm going to select the medium large. Okay, and then next up here is I want the image to be aligned in the center. Okay, there's not going to be a link and no caption. Next, we're going to go ahead and style the image. So to style your image here, we're going to look, what we're looking for is the border radius. So if we look at this image right here, we can see we have a border radius on this side, border radius on this side, with the other diagonal corners left alone. So to create this effect, we're going to unlink our values so that they're not linked together. And on the top left, I'm going to put in 100 pixels. Okay. On the right, I'm going to leave that alone. And on the bottom right, I'm going to put in 100 pixels. And then on the left here, bottom left, I'm going to leave that alone. Okay. And literally we now have our image. Next, we need a title added in here. So I'm going to select my Elementor icon here, elements, select the heading, drag it in, and then we're going to add our text, which is our delicious coffee. I believe that is our delicious coffee. Okay, I'm going to center that. Okay, I'm going to leave this as an H2. I'm going to move to the style, and under the typography, I'm going to reduce the size here so that it's not so big. So we'll keep it at, let's keep it at 22. Okay, for now. We can always change this at any time. Next, we're going to add a blurb here of text. To do that, select your elements icon. We're going to find the text editor, drag it in directly below the delicious coffee, and there's already some text here, so we'll just leave that alone. Okay, that looks great already. Next, we're going to add a button that says click here. Now, there's a couple things that you can do to save yourself some time. I can literally come up here where I already have a button, and I could copy this button by clicking the going through a right click and duplicating the button right there. And then I can drag this and save myself some time and add the button directly below the blurb here. Now I can then go ahead and start changing this button instead of going through the color changes and so on. Make that 0. There always seems to be some pretty good spacing here. And then under content, I'll just change what it says. I will say click here, delicious coffee. And this is literally done. Okay, few seconds, few minutes. We have this already created and looks really good. So next we need to create the other ones. Now to do that, we could go through the same iterations over and over again, but a great time-saving capability of Elementor is the ability to right-click, and you can literally copy and paste different sections into different columns. Okay, so we're going to copy this entire column. Actually, sorry, we're going to duplicate this entire column 2 more times. So I'm going to right-click on the column icon, hit duplicate. I'm going to do it again, right-click, duplicate, and then I'm going to delete those additional columns that we had before by right-clicking, delete, right-click, delete. And now it's just a matter of making changes to the images, the title, and this whole thing will be completely done in no time. So let's go ahead and do that. So after our delicious coffee, we also have our mouth-watering pancakes. Mouth-watering pancakes. Now we need an image to match, so go ahead and select your image. Click on the image configurator. Go to upload, and we're going to find those pancakes. Those should look mouth-watering, but those are not the pancakes. There is another pancake image that we're using. Ah, there it is. Open this one just to be sure. Yes, those are our mouth-watering pancakes there. Insert. We're done. Next one. Change the image. And I believe these are muffins. Here are muffins. Open. And I believe the text is our famous muffins. Awesome. Now this is a fictional cafe, so we're allowed to say anything we want about their food. Mostly good. Okay, great. So now that we've done that, next we need, if you notice these are really close together, I would like to create some good spacing around here. So spacing is always good because it makes your content pop out and look a lot better. So what we're going to do is going to select the column here that we have here. I'm going to select column. I'm going to go to advanced. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a margin of 20 pixels around it. Okay. And then I can go to each one and do the same thing. But you know something really cool about Elementor? I can click on the icon, the column icon here, right click, and I'm going to hit copy. And then I'm going to go to the next one, right click, and I'm going to hit click paste style, and it will paste the style for me automatically. Isn't that pretty cool? That's such a powerful time-saving opportunity there. And literally just like that, we've completed our product section. Go ahead and click update to save your work. And when we preview it, you can preview. This just looks spectacular. Looks great. Okay. We're moving right along. Next, we're going to build the section about the coffee, cakes, and muffins and this mini menu that we have right here. Okay. So let's get right to it. All right. So next up, we're going to build out that about section. So if we go back to our source site over here and we see this, the about section, we've got these nice, beautiful dividers again, the little blurb on this side, and this looks like it has 3 columns, and then we've got this mini menu. So we're going to recreate this entire thing. So let's go back to our own site. So here we are. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do something that's going to save us some time. Instead of going and recreating what is a similar section, right? So we've got this section, it's actually quite similar to this one. We're just going to come here, and I'm going to right click on the top container here, and I'm going to duplicate this section just like that. Okay, so now that I've duplicated the section, you can see now we have 2 of these sections. So all I really need to do from this point is just drag this section here below our product section, and now we have a similar section. So we have our featured area, and then we have a duplicate of it right here. That just saves us all the time of having to recreate all the mountain dividers and spacing and all that stuff like that. Now we need to just build out the insides. Okay, so if we look at our source site here, we'll notice we have 3 columns. So obviously we're going to drag in some columns. So what we want to do is we're going to go to our Elementor element selector. I'm going to pull in an intersection, put it directly on top of the other one there, and then I'm going to duplicate. I'm going to add an additional column by right clicking on the column icon and click on add new column. So now we have 3 columns. I can now delete this one because we're not going to need that anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and click on delete. Okay, and I'm also going to delete this because we don't need this either. Delete. Okay, very cool. The other thing that you'll notice is that in these columns here, okay, one of them seems a little bit wider. So this seems wider than the other 2. So we're just going to add a little width here by dragging it out just a little bit, maybe out to, I'm going to say 40%. Here we go. And we could have done this in the control panel as well. Here on the left, we could have done the same thing. So you can see right here is setting up the column width for me. But that's the kind of flexibility that Elementor has. It's a really cool tool. Okay, so now that's done. All right, now if we take a look, let's look at the elements that we have to build. So we have this about coffee, cakes, and muffins section. We have this blurb. So let's go ahead and do this, and we're literally going to go from left to write, creating everything that we have here. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this text, come back here. We're going to go to our elements by clicking on the element selector here, and I'm going to pull in a heading. Okay. Now this heading, I'm going to put it above, right above the section here. Okay. Because I want the text to align with the remainder of the elements that I pull in. So I'm going to put it right up here. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and change this text into the one that we had. We're going to change the color by going to Style, selecting Text Color. We want this to be white. Okay, so that looks pretty good right there. Okay, now the other thing that we want to do here is we want to add our text blurb. Okay, so I'm going to just pull in a text editor, pull in some text. Okay, we're going to add some additional text to make it a little longer and a little thicker. One more. All right. And then so we can see our text, we'll add some color, white. Okay. So now that looks really good. Okay. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to create this little mini menu. Okay. And to create this, we're going to select a new element by going to our Elementor selector. And what we're looking for is what's called an image box. Okay, so if you search for image, you'll get the image, the carousel, the basic gallery image, but this one's called the image box. It's a lot like the icon box, except it uses images. And we're just going to drag that in here. Okay, we're going to select our first image, and the image we're looking for in this one is going to be coffee. We're going to create this red cup of coffee menu item. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and upload that coffee file now. So I believe that is this one, not that one. Here it is. Okay. Open. Okay. And whoops. What did I do? I'm going to go here. Coffee. Menu. And insert. There's our coffee. Okay. Then the text, the heading we're going to use is that heading. Red cup of coffee. All right. Now the image position. I want the image position to be to the left. Just like that. All right. I'm going to leave the HTML tag as H3, and I'm going to move over to the styling. Actually, before I do that, let's go to the image size here, and I want the image size to be a thumbnail size, so 150 by 150, so it's a perfect square. And then I'm going to go to the style. Now, under the styling is where I get to change some of the elements here. So the first one I'm going to change, the first thing I would want to change is the content, which is the words and the title. So I'm going to select the content option here, which is at the bottom. Okay. And I want to see my content better, so I'm going to make that white. All right. I'm going to click on the typography so that I can control the size and make it a reasonable size here. So I want probably 15, 16 pixels. Let's make it 16 pixels. Okay. Okay. And that looks great. And then the description, I also want that to be white so that I can see it. Okay, so we can see everything nice and easy there. All right. Now let's look at our source site. How many? We only have 2 lines of text there for the description. So I'm going to go back to content, and I'm going to reduce this down to 2 lines of text. Great. Now we've created our menu item. Okay, and that looks pretty good. Looks really nice. Great. So now we just need to duplicate what we have done. Okay, we don't have to recreate this anymore. Just simply right click on the edit icon here. All right, and I'm going to duplicate. Do it a few more times. Matter of fact, let's drag one over now. Right click and duplicate. And there you have it. We have our menu item and we have our text. Now, one of the things that is different is if you come here, we have a different image. We have actually a kind of a lady back here. It looks like they're making some coffee or taking some orders. So we're going to change our background. So select your container element here at the top. Go to Style. Click on the background. And we're going to upload a new background. So select. And I believe it's this one. No, wrong one. And later on, I'll share with you where we're getting these images. All these images are free. Okay, you can get them for free and use them in your designs. So we'll go ahead and grab that image. All right. Okay, insert. And there it is. Okay, so now this image is in. Now, one thing we do want to do is we definitely want this to be a little darker so that we can see our text. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to our overlay. And I'm going to darken this quite a bit. All right, so darken this quite a bit. Darken it even more. Bring it down. Giving us a nice little overlay effect. Oops, not too much. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, go ahead and update this. And now let's take a look at our page here. Okay, so this looks pretty good compared to this one. Looks really good. Now, one of the things that I'm noticing is there's some spacing, good spacing here. So we want to have the same kind of spacing. And it looks like the dividers are a lot closer to this information than the other one. So let's come here. And what we're going to do is I'm going to come here to the top container and I'm going to play with the minimum height a little bit. So we might reduce this minimum height just a little bit, just a tad. Okay, so 722 looks fine. And then we're going to come to this block here. And what I want to do is I want to add a margin. So I'm going to unlink the margins here. And at the bottom, I'm going to add 40 pixel margin there. Okay. And then in this one, I'm going to do the same thing. Unlink and add 40 pixel margins to that bottom. Okay. Now on the also here, we've got different items. So we've got donuts, a pancake stack, and muffins, right? So let's go ahead and make the changes to the mini menu that we have here. So I'm going to come here. We want donuts. We're going to change the thumbnail. Upload files. Here's our donuts. Okay. All right, we're going to leave that there. We do want it to be a thumbnail, and that is a thumbnail, so that will adjust. And then we'll move on to this one. Okay. And those were pancakes, so we want the pancake stack. Okay, so let's grab that. $6.99 for a pancake stack. Sounds pretty good. All right, go to content. Change that. We're going to change our image. Upload. Select. And we want the pancakes. That is not the pancakes we want. We want a different set of pancakes. Here we go. Okay. Insert that as well. And then the final one is the muffins. Okay. Yep, we have different muffins actually. There it is. Okay. All right, now our muffins are in play. Looks great. I'm gonna go ahead and update this. Okay, and now when we take a look, our section is now completely created and looking very, very nice. So up next, we need to build out our testimonial section, just like we have here in our source site. So we've got this testimonial section we're going to build out. Then we need to build out our footer, and we're literally done with our home page. So far, so good. Everything looks great. So the next section that we're going to create is this testimonial section right here. What our customers say about us. And we're going to create these 2 testimonials. So to do that, we're going to go back to our build out over here, and I'm going to add a section, and I'm going to add the container section, and then we only need 2 columns. So I'm going to click here to access the elements, and I want to pull in an intersection just like that. Okay. Then we had a title, so I'm going to go ahead and select the elements again, pull in a heading at the very top, and it says what our clients are saying about us. Okay, what our customers say about us. I'm going to go ahead and make that centered, and then we're going to go back to our elements here, and we're going to search for a testimonial element, which Elementor has. Okay, it's pretty decent. So there it is. And then we're going to go ahead and configure this. So first we need an image, and we need to change the name. So in here, we're going to select an image, go to upload files, and we're going to add this lady in there. Okay, giving us a testimonial. We're going to change her name from John to Jane Renner, and we're going to call her a customer. Okay, fairly simple, right? Then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to add this quote icon here. Okay, this lets everybody know that these are testimonials. So I'm going to come back to my elements selector, and I'm going to look for an icon, and I want to drag an icon in there. We're going to change the icon by clicking on it, and we're going to search for quote. Here's our quote icon, and we're going to insert that. Nice and easy. Okay. So next we need to create the next column, which is exactly the same, except the quote is facing the opposite direction. So this is actually very easy. We've done this before. I'm going to go ahead and select this column and right click on the column icon, request a duplication. I'm going to delete the empty one that I no longer need, and I'm just going to change this here, this quote, into the opposing quote, which is that one. And we are done with creating our section. That fast, very quick. We're going to add some spacing here. So I'm going to select my outer container. I'm going to go to the layout section, and the minimum height, I'm going to just increase this a little bit, maybe 450 is enough. Okay, it's entirely up to you, so that it just gives some good spacing so we can see our testimonials here. I'm going to go ahead and update this to be able to save my work. And when we now preview this, you can see now we literally in just a few minutes have created that section here. Now if you notice here, there's some actually good spacing between these 2 columns. So I'm going to add that spacing as well. We're going to go ahead and select the column itself, go to advanced, and on the margin we're going to add spacing of 20 pixels. And then I'm going to right click on that, click copy, and then I'm going to right click on the second one, and I'm going to paste the style so that it just does it for me automatically. Update my work, and we have completed the build out of this section here. Okay. All right, next we need to do one more thing to complete our homepage, and that's to build out this footer area. Okay, so when we talk about footers, this is the actual footer right here where it says copyright 2019 coffee cakes muffins powered by Astra. This is the actual footer. However, this area right here is what we call a fat footer. Okay, and this one has 2 columns and a title. So this actually permeates throughout the entire website. So we're going to rebuild this same one the same way that we built the header, right? We created it in Anywhere Elementor. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Okay, so before we start building out the fat footer, we're actually going to configure our footer area right here. So if you look here, you'll notice that this footer has a dark background with white text. If we look at our source site over here, it has a white background with our theme color text. So we're going to change that. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to go here, and we're going to exit out of our Elementor developer thing here for a minute. So I'm going to go to View Page, which will take me to the page. This right here is actually controlled by the Astra theme. So to make changes to our Astra theme, we're going to go to Customize. And this time we're dealing with the footer. So I'm going to click on the footer. I'm going to go to footer bar, right? And here's our text. Let's make sure we're looking at it. There it is. Okay, and what I want to do is I want the color, the background color, to be different. So all the way down here is the background color. I'm gonna go ahead and change that background color to white. Okay, so there's our background color there. And then it looks like there is a border here, and I don't want that border, so I'm going to change the border size to 0, which will remove the border entirely. Then the content of our footer area we're going to change as well. So the text color that we want is a similar color to what we have going on with the theme. Okay, so I think we're a little bit more red than that. Here we go. There it is. All right. Looks great. And I also want my link color to be the same. Now, sometimes you can select a different color, different link color if you want, but just for the purposes of this, tutorial, we're just gonna keep it simple, which is always usually the best. And there it is. That is now complete. I'm gonna go ahead and publish this, and now we're ready to build out our fat footer. Okay, so what are we building in this fat footer? Well, let's look at our source site. So what do we need? We need a title, we have a background, we have what looks like a image or icon box, we have a contact us button, and we have a map. Okay, so all these things seem like pretty simple elements that we've dealt with before. So let's go ahead and build it. But before we do that, I want to do one thing that's going to make this really easy. Whenever you build something, we're going to use Anywhere Elementor, and all we're going to do is we're going to hook that footer into right above the footer area, and you'll see how we'll do that. The thing is that Anywhere Elementor is not actually a page anywhere on your site. It's just a section builder that you can use to build out sections and plug them into pages on your site. Okay, so in order for us to pull this off, we're going to need to go to Anywhere Elementor, build it out, and then use our shortcode to be able to put it in here. And to save us some time, we're actually going to borrow some really cool effects from Elementor itself. Okay, so how are we going to do that? We're going to go ahead and click on Edit with Elementor. Okay, and I'm going to look for one of these sections. So if you notice, these sections are pretty uniform. We've got this section divider here and 2 columns. So we want to save some time and not having to create this over and over again. So what we're going to do is we're going to come here, and I'm going to find a section that is quite similar. And the most similar one that I can find is this one right here that we used before. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on this top container, and I'm going to click on Save as Template. Save as Template will allow me to save that section as is so that I can use it anywhere I want on any page or website. I can even export it and use it in another project if I wanted to. Just very, very cool. So we're going to call this Wavy Section. Okay, I'm going to save that Wavy Section, and I'm going to close out of this. And now I'm going to go ahead and exit out of Elementor to the dashboard. Okay, so here we are. Now I'm going to go to Anywhere Elementor Templates, and I'm going to click on Add New, and we're going to call this Fat Footer. Okay, because it's a fat footer. And we'll leave everything else as is. I'm going to go ahead and publish it so that now we have our fat footer shortcode ready for us. And I'm going to click on Edit with Elementor. Okay, so now we need to build it out. Now, instead of coming here and adding a section and doing all that like I did before, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull in my saved template, okay, which is the wavy section. And the way I do that is by clicking on this file folder over here. It'll take me to my templates, and I'm going to click on Insert. I'm going to say yes to everything that comes up, and now we have that section added in. So now all I really need to do is create the internal parts of it, which is this and the background image and so on. So let me show you how quickly this would happen. I'm going to go ahead and pull in an intersection, 2 columns. Okay, I'm going to select the elements selector, and I'm going to grab a heading. I'm going to put that in here, and the heading says "Stop by for coffee." Stop by for coffee. Okay, I'm going to center that and go to Style, Text Color. I want it to be white. Okay, and then I'm going to delete these. I don't need these anymore. So right click, delete, And I'm going to leave the contact us because we need this button. So I'm going to drag it into the first column here. All right. Then next, I'm going to look for an icon box. So you can just search icon. Here's the icon box. I'm going to pull this in. Okay. And what I'm creating now is this section right here. Okay. So we want this information here. So I'm going to come here, paste that in. Okay. This is going to be our heading, and this is going to be our description. All right. The orientation looks fine. I'm not going to make any changes there. And then I'm just going to change the icon. I want a marker icon, like something you would find on a map somewhere. So here we go. Insert. And now I can go in and start styling my section here. So 230 Street, Sacramento, California. Make sure this is aligned correctly. That looks great. Okay. And let's see here. Okay. I'm going to go to style. The icon is white. That makes it really simple. And then I'll go to the content where the color is white. All right, and the description is also white. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Okay, then the next thing that we want to do, this content isn't wrapping around like I wanted to, so I can add some HTML to force it to break in there. But it typically would do it with just an entry, but in case you're trying to do the same thing, you can do that. Okay, so there it is. So now if I look at this one, the spacing here is really close, so that's easy to fix. Go to style. All right, and we can see our spacing here between the icon, between the icon and the title, but I want the content spacing. So I want it to be closer like that. All right, and then our contact button seems really far, so I'm going to go ahead and make changes there by selecting the edit icon for the contact button, and I'm going to remove the 40 pixel margin that we had there. Okay, so now that looks pretty good. Next up, we're going to add the map here. So I'm just going to click on the plus icon here, search for map. There it is. I'm going to drag it in, and we're looking for Sacramento, California. Okay, it's no particular place in Sacramento, but that's just what we're picking, and that's already there. I'm going to click on update. And then if we look here, you will notice that this is really close together. So we're going to go over here, and I'm going to select this section, and we're going to reduce the minimum height. Okay, we're going to bring this down by a lot. So right there. Okay, that looks pretty good. The other thing we're going to change is the background. So we have a different background. We have somebody here brewing some coffee. So we're going to go here, back to that section area. Click on style. We're going to select the background, and we're going to change this background by uploading a new picture. I believe it's this one. Okay, there's our brewed coffee picture. We're going to insert it, and then we're going to darken it a little bit. Okay, so right now we're going to go to our overlay. All right, and in our overlay, we want this a little bit darker. So I'm going to move this up a little bit, move that up there as well, and then we can take a look at it. And we can even get it even darker if we want by moving the opacity even more, and that looks good. That's really, really good. Okay, and now we are done building out the section. Now, all we have done here is we've built out the section. This is not on the website yet. This is in Anywhere Elementor. So I'm going to click Update. And now that this is done, I'm going to go back to my hamburger icon here at the top left. I'm going to click on Exit to Dashboard, which will take me to the Edit section of this template that we just built. I'm going to grab the shortcode. Okay. Command copy if you're on your Mac, Control C if you're on a PC. And now I'm going to visit the website. So now that I'm looking at the website, you can see that what we just created is nowhere on the website. To add it to the website, we're going to have to utilize the Astra hooks. So if I click on the Show Astra Hooks visual guide here, you will be able to see all the different areas where we can actually hook in here. So here is the footer, and there's some hooking areas below and there's hooking areas above. The one we're looking for is the above area. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hide that, and we're going to click on customize. You're going to go to the hooks section right here. We're going to look for the footer section, and what we want is the before footer section. We're going to go ahead and paste our short code, and if you scroll down, you will see that instantaneously our footer is now there. I'm going to go ahead and click publish, close that out, and now when we look at our website, our home page is completely done, complete with beautiful fat footer. Our footer is complete, and the home page is now complete. So the next thing that we need to do now is we need to fill in our internal pages, right? So if you go to the about page right now, you will see that there is nothing there. We need to add some about information and so on and so forth. And I'll also show you how quickly we're going to pull this off. So now that we've completed the home page areas, now we're going to build out the internal pages. So if we go to our source site that we're replicating over here, you will notice that we've got the about page, cakes, coffee, and muffins page, and these actually contain content. So we're going to recreate all this, and if you notice, we have a page header here, and then what looks like 2 columns with images and some text. All right, so this is a fairly simple page to create. If we go to the cakes page, there's a little bit of a different layout. We're just using menus here and featuring the cakes, and the same thing with the coffee and the muffins. So we're basically going to recreate all these pages. And then if we go to the contact us page, we actually have a contact form here, which is supplied by Ninja Forms. So we're going to create every single one of these elements and finish out our website, and we'll have a completely built out website using the free version of Elementor, and all the other free tools as well. So let's go ahead and get started with that, starting with the about page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to our site that we're building here, right? And if we go to our about page, you'll notice that there is nothing there with the exception of the footer. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and click on edit page so we can let it know that we want to build this out with Elementor. Click on the blue edit with Elementor button, and we will be inside the Elementor layout builder. Okay, so the very first thing that you'll notice is if we go to the about pages, we have this beautiful page header right here with the page title right in the middle. So we're going to build that first. To do that, we're going to do something that we've set ourselves up for already. We're going to go to our template, and we're going to select my templates. And in the my template section, we're going to insert that wavy section that we saved earlier on in the tutorial. Okay, and there it is. And we're going to use this to lay out our page header. Okay, so how are we going to do that? Very simple. We're going to click in here, and we're going to change this text to about. Okay, we're going to delete this button because we don't need it anymore. So right click on the icon for the button and delete. Then we're going to change the height. So I'm going to go ahead and click the section selector here. I'm going to go to minimum height, and I'm going to reduce this down to about there. Okay, and that looks beautiful already. Okay, we're going to leave that as it is. I'm going to click update, and we have finished building out the page header. Now another thing that I'm going to do, because we're going to reuse this page header here, is I'm going to right click on the section selector here, and I'm going to click on save as template, and in here I'm going to name this page header. Okay, actually let's call it inner page header. We're going to save that so that we can use it in our other pages, right? So now that's complete. Next, we're going to add these 2 column sections here to the page. It should be really easy to do. Let's go ahead and grab some text here so we can use this text. And we're going to go to our site, and this time I'm going to click on the structure addition icon here. I'm going to select the main structure that I want, and then I'm going to drag in the intersection by selecting the elements icon. I'm going to pull in intersection, which will automatically give me 2 columns, which is exactly what I want. And we'll have an image in this column. Okay, so I'm going to drag in an image. And the image we're going to select, we actually already have, which is this one here, insert that one, and then on this column here we're going to have text. So go back to your elements, grab the text, and we're going to populate it with the text that we borrowed here. Okay, then we also need a title. So go back to your elements, grab a heading, and right here we're going to title this Our Story. Okay, very nice and simple, right? I'd like to give this some padding around just to give it some nice spacing. So we're going to select the column icon here, go to Advanced, and we'll give it a 20 pixel margin. I'm going to do the same thing on the second column, 20 pixel margin. Okay, so now we have some good margins there. And that concludes the build out of this section. Then what we're going to do is we're going to add an additional section, right? Because we have two sections here. We have another section right here as well. So what we're going to do in this case is, instead of recreating everything by adding an additional structure, I'm just going to duplicate this section here. Okay, so right click on the container section and click on duplicate. And now it creates a duplicate section. And now all I need to do is switch these around. So I'm going to drag this one over to the second column, drag the text to the next column here, and I believe this here, we're going to change this to Our Mission. Right? I think that's what that says, Our Mission and Vision. Okay. All right, so now we have the two sections already built out. Let's check on it, and this looks really good and fantastic. We are literally done with the About. So go ahead and click on Update. And if we preview this, you will see that our About page is now complete. Oh, actually, let's do one other thing. We're using a different image here, so let's change the image to match our source site. We're using this image. There we go. Now that looks more like it. Okay, update. And now we've completed the About page. Now we're going to move on to building out the Cakes page. Okay, so if we look at our source site, and if we go to the Cakes page, we'll see that we have these this menu with the different cakes or different pancakes in here. Okay, this is very easy to build. Matter of fact, we've done this before, so we'll do it again. Okay, so go ahead and we'll go ahead and exit out of this by clicking on the hamburger icon. We'll click on View Page to take us to the front end of the website, and this time we're going to select Cakes. Okay, and now we're going to go to Edit Page, Edit with Elementor. Okay, now the editor is open. Okay, we're going to click on our Templates icon. We're going to select My Templates, and we're going to insert the inner page header. We'll say yes, and our inner page header is inserted. We'll change the title to Cakes. All right, and we're going to add our structure. Select our Elements icon, drag on an inner section so we can have two columns, and then we're now going to start adding our menu items. So what we're looking for now is the image box. Okay, so here's the image box. I'm going to drag that in here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and change this image to one of pancakes. Okay, so we're going to offer different pancakes on here. Insert. Okay, we're going to leave the image. Actually, we're going to leave the image. We're going to make the image a thumbnail. So 150 by 150. We want it to be positioned to the left, just like so. And the title here, we're going to go ahead and grab one of these blueberry pancake titles. So we've got the title and the pricing right there, just like that. Okay, I'm going to go over to Style, click on Content, and we're going to adjust the spacing so that it comes really close, about 5 there. Okay, and now this is done. So the only thing that's left to do now is to create multiples of these in case you have different cakes. So we're going to right click on the edit icon, and we're going to click on duplicate, right click again, and duplicate. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing for the opposing side. Duplicate this. And you can see this duplicate is a very excellent time-saving feature. Right-click, duplicate, right-click, duplicate. And then this way we can add the different cakes. And now I know they all say blueberry pancake, but you kind of get the idea. This is where you would add the rest of your menu items. Now, one last housekeeping thing. We're going to select this section here, and we're going to create some spacing so that our design looks nice and crisp. We're going to add the margin of 20 pixels. And we're going to do the same thing on the other one. Spacing is very important in your web design. It makes sure your designs stand out. Make them look really nice and clean. Okay. So now when we preview this, we can see that our cakes page is now complete. Okay. It took us very little time to be able to pull that off. All right. So what are we going to do now? We're going to update to save it. And if we look at the source site and we look at the coffee page, okay, you'll notice the coffee page kind of follows the same similar format, and the muffins page also follows the same similar format. So what we're going to do now is to help us save time, we'll go to our own website here. To help us save time, we're literally going to save this section, okay? So I'm going to right click on the section itself. I'm going to click on Save as Template, and we're going to call this section Food Menu. Okay, we'll save it, close out of it, and we're going to exit to view the page. So we're on the front end of the website, and now I'm going to move over to coffee. So now on the coffee page, all I need to do, tell the page that I want it to be built with Elementor by going to the edit page and clicking on the Elementor blue button. Then I'm going to click on the templates icon. And I'm going to now select a few of my templates. And you can see how saving your templates can be a very, very powerful way for you to accelerate your web design process, okay, your web design workflow. So I'm going to insert an inner page header. We're going to say yes. This one is going to be for coffee. So I'm going to change this to coffee. Okay, I'm going to click on my template icon again. I'm going to select the food menu. We say yes. And now our food menu is entered, and now all I need to do here now is change my image and change my title. So what did we call it on our other site? Coconut coffee. So we got coconut coffee. We have different types of coffee. Okay. So we're gonna come here. Oops. All right, and we're gonna change this to coconut coffee. Okay, and leave everything else the same. So now that we have that, we're going to come here and same thing, change that image. Matter of fact, let's change all these images. Oops, moved a little too fast there. Did it again. Okay, change that one, change that one, and the final one. Okay, and then they all have different names. So we've got mocha coffee. So we have a blueberry coffee, if there's such a thing, and we'll call this one chocolate coffee. I think that's like a mocha coffee. and we can literally change this directly on page. So, right, inline editing is very powerful, so we can do that there. What's this one? Let's call this key lime coffee, if there's such a thing. There probably is. All right. And we have, let's create a different flavor here, vanilla coffee. And I think we now have all the different coffees. So this is great. Okay, we're done there. Click update. And our coffee page is now complete. All right, so now we have a coffee page. All right, so what are we going to do next? We're going to exit to view the page. And now we'll build out the muffins page. muffins page will go exactly the same way. Click on Edit Page. Go to Edit with Elementor to open up the Elementor editing section. We're going to go to our templates, My Templates. I'm going to insert the inner page header. Okay. And then I'm also going to do it again and insert the food menu. Okay, now that's there. And these are our muffins. Okay. And here we're going to change this thumbnail into the muffins thumbnail. Okay. Literally clicking and just changing the image. Okay. And then we can change the names here. So blueberry muffin. Chocolate. Chocolate. You gotta have chocolate. Muffin. Strawberry. Muffin. Banana. Muffin. That's not how you spell banana. And what other kind of muffin do we? Oh, we have a vanilla muffin. And we're gonna throw an odd one in here. Jalapeno muffin. I think that's too odd. Let's make it an almond muffin. Almond muffin, okay. All right, great. So now our muffin page is complete. Update. And now all that remains will be our Contact Us page. We've literally in a few minutes just built out our About, Cakes, Coffee, and Muffins pages, and these are all now completed, okay? So the next thing that we need to do is we need to build out our Contact Us page. Now, if you look at the Contact Us page in our source site here, you will notice that it's also a very simple page, but it has a contact form. So the next thing that we need to do is we're going to build out this contact form, and then we're going to build out the page and insert the contact form in there, and we will be completed with our website build out. Okay, so let's pop back over to our website, and we're going to build out a form that we're going to put in our Contact Us page. Okay, so if we exit out, let's exit out by clicking on the hamburger icon. We'll go to View Page, and if we click on our Contact Us page now, you'll notice that this doesn't really lead anywhere, right? It just kind of leads to the same place. So first we need to let it know that we want it to lead to a Contact Us page, because we do have one of those. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Customize, and we're going to go to our header. We're going to click on the primary menu, and we're using this button. All right, and the button link here, we're going to change this to Contact Us, because we actually have a Contact Us page. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and publish this now, and then I'm going to check it to make sure that it leads there. Great, it does. So now all we need to do is add the form and add the page header. So let's go ahead and add the page header now. So I'm going to click on Edit Page, Edit with Elementor. Okay, I'm going to select the templates icon here. We're going to go to My Templates, and we're going to add the inner page header. Okay, we'll change the text here to say Contact Us. Right, I'm going to update it now, and then I'm going to exit to the dashboard. All right, so now we're going to begin our Ninja Form contact page creation. So we're going to go to Ninja Forms, and I'm going to click on Add New. Okay, we're going to skip this for now. Okay, Now, one of the things I love about Ninja Forms, and this is the free version, there is a pro version of Ninja Forms, but one of the things I like about Ninja Forms is that Ninja Forms always starts you off with a few forms that you can already start using right away. Okay, so they have different types of forms. We're just creating a contact us form, so we're going to select the contact us form that's pre-created here. Okay, and it's going to open it up for us in an editing area. So this is where we get to edit the form itself. Now, whenever you're working with a new plugin, sometimes you may not know where things are. I found that the best way to do it is you just simply follow the tabs. And a lot of times the tabs will be arranged from left to right or sometimes top to bottom. So right now we are in the first tab, which is the Form Fields tab. And by default, we have name, we have email, and we have message. Okay, so in our source site here, we can already see we have name, we've got email, we've got phone number, and the message field is called what would you like. And then instead of labels, we actually have what's called placeholders, meaning the labels themselves are inside the fields. So what we're going to do is we're going to create our form to look exactly like that one. And the way you do that with Ninja Forms is you get to be able to add fields by drag and drop. Okay, so I'm going to scroll over here to the bottom right corner here. I'm going to click on the plus sign, which is going to open up the field selection area for Ninja Forms. And the only field that we're missing currently is the phone number field. So I'm going to go ahead and drag over the phone number field, put it directly underneath the email field. Okay, we're going to then click on the gear here, and we're going to make it a required field. Okay, there's also some display options here where we can put in our some more information. And here we're going to, under the placeholder, we're going to put in enter your phone number. Okay, and we are done with that one. I'm also going to go to the message field here. I'm going to click on the gear icon. Okay, and we're going to change this. We're actually going to change this to, I'm sorry, we're going to click on the display field here. I'm sorry. And then on the placeholder, we're going to put here, what can we do for you? Question mark. And that's all we need to do there. I'm going to say done. Under the email field, select the gear. Under display, on the placeholder, enter your email. Done. And under the name field, same thing, display, placeholder, enter your name. Done. Okay, so now we're done with our fields here. Okay, now there is a submit button, and the submit button actually looks fine just the way that we want it to look, right? There isn't any other options here, so but it's there. All right, now the next tab over are email actions. Email actions are basically saying what's going to happen when somebody submits this email. If you get confirmation, what's the notification going to say, will there be a success message, and so on. So these are already pre-created. I just like to go through these to make sure that they are what I want them to do. So I'm going to click on the gear icon here, and it says the action is it's going to store the submission. If you look under advanced, it's set to save all the submissions, which is exactly what we want. So that one's fine. Email confirmation is an email that that the user will get to confirm that they received, that the email was received. And this looks like it's all set up correctly with the user's email in there. It's exactly how I would want it. Okay, email notification is what goes to the admin or to you. Okay, and you see here I have the system admin email in there, or if this is not your email, you can put in your email, and it's basically going to contain all the information that is submitted but sent to you. And then a success message is the message that the user will see once they submit the form. Okay, so everything here looks great. Under the advanced tab, you have two options. You have a display settings option and a restrictions option. I'm going to go to the display settings here, and under here we can change the form title. So right now it says contact me. I'm going to have it here say contact coffee cakes and muffins. Okay, it's asking if I wanted to show to display the form title. I think that's fine. Clear the successfully completed form, that's fine. Hide successfully completed form, that is fine as well. Then under the advanced here, okay, here we have the label position, right? So the label is basically the label for each field. And right now it's positioned above the element. I want it to be hidden, so I'm going to select the hidden option for the labels. All right, and then I'll leave everything else here as is. I want to select done, and now it's done. The only other thing here is the restrictions, and you're really going to need to use this for a contact form, so we don't, but there are options that you can use here. We won't be covering that in this tutorial. Later on, we will do a tutorial on Ninja Forms where we actually go into the free and the pro version of this plugin, but it is a great plugin. So now that we're done building this out, I'm going to go ahead and click on Publish. Okay, now that that's completed, we're going to X out of this by clicking the big X. Here's our form, and what we need to do is copy this shortcode. Okay, now that I have the shortcode, I'm going to go straight to the website. We're going to go to the Contact Us page, right? And then we're going to click on Edit with Elementor. And there are a couple of things that we can do. Elementor actually has a shortcode element. So if you search for shortcode, you'll see it there. And I believe they also have, shortcodes also work in the HTML element as well. So you can pull in HTML and have that do the work for you, okay? But in this case, we're going to be using the shortcode element, okay, because we have a shortcode. Now, before we do that, though, let's go ahead and add a little structure here. So I'm going to add a full structure, and then in similar fashion, I'm going to pull in an intersection here. And because I want to have control over the width of this form, I'm actually going to create a 3-column structure. So I'm going to duplicate, I'm going to add a new column here, okay? And in this middle column is where I'm going to insert my shortcode. Okay, so I'm going to find the shortcode element. Here it is. I'm going to pull it in there. And here's where we can paste our shortcode. Okay, I'm going to click on Apply. Right. And now that we've done that, I'm going to go ahead and click on Update. All right. So now, sometimes with shortcodes, when you're in the editing section, it sometimes doesn't display. It'll only display once you have moved over to the to the live view, okay, which is fine. If we want to see what this looks like, we can basically go to View Page, and you'll see it there, right there. Okay. Now, one of the things that I did notice here is that it did not hide the labels for some of the fields. This may be a challenge with the with Ninja Forms, or it may be an issue with Elementor. But typically, my philosophy is every plugin you use sometimes will have some kind of issue, and there's always a way to repair that issue. And just like we have an issue here, we don't want these labels. We're going to go ahead and repair this, and I'll show you how to do that right now. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to access our developer tool. Okay, so we're literally going to right click anywhere on the page, click on Inspect. Okay, down here is an Inspect tool. This very first one here, you're going to select that one, and we're going to look at this label here. Okay, so I'm looking at the label, and what I'm looking for is the name of this label. The name of the label is going to display right here. Okay, I can see it. NF form content label. Okay, so what I want is I want this block of code. I want to copy this entire block of code. If I can, let's go here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and grab all this. Command C on your Mac, Control C on your PC. Okay, and then I'm going to close out of the developer tool. Okay, next I'm going to go to the customizer. Okay, I'm going to open up the customizer. By default, WordPress comes with an additional CSS option. This is where you can add CSS to your website. Now, if you don't know what CSS is a programming language that you use to style websites. A lot of people use page builders these days to style their websites, and they're probably not doing very much CSS. But CSS coding can be extremely helpful to you because sometimes a page builder cannot do everything. So I always recommend people learn some coding. I come from an extreme coding background. So I'm able to tap into some of my coding experience whenever I run into issues with some of the more modularized tools that are designed to make things easier or designed to make things better for non-coders. So sometimes when you run into an issue like this where your tool isn't working correctly, you can then use some CSS code to fix that. And maybe we'll throw in some CSS tutorials as we go along the way, but CSS is a really fun and easy language to learn, and it can actually help you do a lot of great things with your website. So, okay, that being said, we're going to go ahead and paste the CSS code that we just copied into the additional CSS area. And then inside of these brackets here are the instructions for this selector, okay? So what it's saying is whatever's in here, please do whatever's in here. So provide a font size of 18 pixels, provide a line height of 20 pixels for the label content of this form. That's exactly what it's saying. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to delete all that information because it's already contained in the CSS in the plugin. I'm going to delete it, and I'm going to put in my own instruction that's going to say display, and we're going to say none. And if you notice, the fields have now, the labels, I'm sorry, have now disappeared. I'm going to publish that and close it out, and our contact us form is now perfect. Okay, so if we compare it to our source site, it looks exactly the same. All right, and that will conclude the build out of our coffee, cakes, and muffins websites. We built out the home page, we built out the inner pages, and we built a form in the process. And this website was built with 100% free plugins and the free version of Elementor. All right, and this is a pretty decent website. You can actually use this in a real business to either promote your business or sell it to a client, whichever one that you want. But this is absolutely exceptional. Now, there is one additional thing that I want to show you. I didn't do this during the tutorial on purpose because I thought this is just how you add some extra flair to your website. If we go to the source site here, one of the things you'll notice when you get to the site, you see all these animations, you see how things are jumping in like that, okay? This adds a little extra professionalism to your website, a little extra flair. We didn't do any of that in this development, so now we're going to do that, and you're going to see how easy this is. So we're going to click on Edit with Elementor on our home page, okay? And we're going to play around with this. So I'm going to go to my aspirational statement here, and under the Advanced tab, we're going to select Motion Effects. Okay, under Motion Effects, we can select from any number of effects that we want. And the one we're going to choose here is the Zoom In and Down effect for that one. And then we're going to come here and we're going to do the same thing for the button. Motion Effects, and we're going to say Zoom In and Down. Okay, and now we have that effect. And then same thing here with our products. We can either do it for the entire column or we can just do it for the image. Let's just do it for the entire column because I think that would be really cool. So we're going to select the column, we're going to go to Advanced, we're going to go to Motion Effects, and we're going to have an entrance animation. And on this one, we're just going to zoom in. So it's going to look like that. Okay, and I'm going to do it for the rest of them. Same exact type of animation. Okay, now the great thing about animations is what it does is because of that movement, when the user is browsing the site, it draws their eye to whatever is animated. So it's kind of using a little bit of a psychological trick there to say, hey, look, something's happening. All right, so we've done it there. And then here in this area, we're going to do the same thing. So right here on this one, I'm going to make this one fly in from the left. So we're going to select that, Motion Effects, and we're going to slide in from the left like that. And then I'm also going to make this column here. I want this to also fly in from the left. So again, Advanced, select Motion Effects, and we're going to slide in from the left. Okay, and then this column is going to slide from the top. So select the column, go to Advanced, go to Motion Effects, Entrance Animation, and I want this to slide in down. Yeah, like that. All right, and then this one, I'm going to select this icon, this column, sorry, advanced, go to motion effects, and I want this one to slide in from the top, from the bottom. So let's see here, where are we? Slide in up. Yes, awesome. All right, and then what our customers say about us, same exact thing here. We're going to do this by column. I want this one to zoom in, so I'm going to select the column, go to advanced, motion effects, and we're going to have this one zoom in, and do that for the second one, motion effects, zoom in. Okay, and now we're going to go into the Edit Elementor section to make this one have its own animation. But for right now, we're going to go ahead and update our changes for now. Okay, and then I'm going to view the page, so it takes me to the front end. All right, and now you can see our animations. That looks really, really good. We're going to do the same thing here for the footer. Now this is controlled in Anywhere Elementor, so let's go to Anywhere Elementor. So if you go to Edit with Elementor at the very top, we can see here the fat footer section here. I'm going to select that, and I'm just going to go by column here. So we'll take this column, select the column icon, go to Advanced, and I'm going to make this one zoom in. Okay, so we're going to zoom in like that. And this one, we are also going to make that zoom in as well. Motion effects. I'm going to zoom in. And for the stop by for coffee, we'll make that slide in from the top. Add a little contrast here. So motion effects. And we're going to slide in down like that. All right, excellent. Go ahead and click update. And we're now going to exit to the dashboard. And now when we view our site, we can see all our beautiful animations coming in. That just looks great. All right. And now our project is completely completed. So thank you very much for staying through to the course. If you like the tutorials, please give us a thumbs up, and also please subscribe, and let us know how you felt about it in the comments. If you if there's something that you really wanted to know how to do and you feel like we didn't cover it, go ahead and put that in the comments. I read every comment, and I'll see how I can help you out. But we would appreciate it if you would subscribe so that you can get notified whenever we post videos like this. We're going to be posting a lot of videos covering a lot of different things like Elementor, Beaver Builder, Divi, and some of the other tools out there that people are using to build websites. Okay, so again, remember to subscribe, hit that notification bell so you're notified about the next video. My name is Clifton with Clifton Creative Academy, and I will see you in the next video.